practice for you guys?
Yeah, it's been a really good week. We've obviously had the disruptions with players coming back at various stages and haven't really had the whole group back until today, which was a touch later than we hoped with Boxall and Rosales. But yeah, the whole group's together now and we're really looking forward to the game.
Anybody not available tomorrow because of international jet lag or whatever?
No, all the internationals came through unscathed, so yeah, we're in good shape.
What's Ray's status?
It's, the specifics still unknown to me, but he's on green card duty,
waiting.
so we're waiting to hear.
Did you guys just feel like this was the best time with the week off last week to try to get that sorted for him? Is that why you guys did it now?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not so on top of the details behind that, but I can only assume that's the case. So sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Derek Dodson, is he available?
Yeah, he trained today. He'll be available for selection. Yeah.
What do you look at Philly's form? Obviously, Carranza had a brace on the weekend. They got their first win. Obviously, one of the quality teams in MLS. What do you look to as the keys for Philly?
Yeah, they're a really difficult team to play against, particularly at home. They're strong, physical, attack in a very direct way with a front two that can really hurt teams. They cross very, very early. It's, as I said earlier in the week, it's one for us where we really need to stand up to the physical battle, because that will be definitive as to how successful we are there. So in some senses it's a nice message to sell, because I think if you can do that, then we'll inevitably get chances. We've got some very good players on the break, so we feel like it's a game that we can take something from, but we've obviously got to do the very basics of the game exceptionally well.
We had a chance to talk with Dennis yesterday. What things does he add to training?
Yeah, Dennis obviously got a huge experience as a first-team coach at Premier League level and in the Championship and as a manager, so he brings, number one, a real quality to the grass. He's a very good coach, but he's also a very good communicator, very close to the players. He's very warm, got a really good presence, and I think if you watch half an hour of a session of ours, you see that immediately. So he's been a brilliant addition.
Any reaction to the Minnesota weather, and how does it change training on turf versus grass?
Yeah, it's not ideal to be inside training on turf. I'd much rather be out on the pitches, but sort of I knew what I was signing up for when I came here. I knew this was normal, so I think it's number one, it's brilliant that we are able to train and there is a facility that allows us to do so. So the group's great. They get on with it. They take what they're given, and we have that approach as coaches as well.
You're going to encounter a lot of things in this job that you're not used to. Have you asked anybody about just how to handle the travel that you guys?
No, I'm sort of trusting I'm in some safe hands with the staff that we've got here that are brilliant behind the scenes. I've got to say, completely first class. Angie and her team that deal with the travel and the organisation. So fingers crossed, everything's smooth, which I'm sure it will be.
How do you look to international duties? Obviously, the FIFA windows will mandate that, but there might be some, like a Sangbin with the Asian Cup and Olympics, that might overextend those breaks. How do you, as a manager, look at opportunities for players to play for the national?
Yeah, I think they're, number one, they're really good opportunities. I obviously had an experience with Wales for 6 months, and I loved working for your national team. It's a completely different environment. Everyone's there for a very different cause to the one that brings them together at club level. So I would never want to deprive a player of an opportunity that he wants to take there. So I sort of try and see the positive to it, in the sense that the player goes away and gets a really good experience. We get a chance to maybe work with someone who's not playing as regularly, and someone maybe steps into a Sangbin shoes or whoever else it might be that finds himself away. So I'll always try and find the silver lining and help players pursue the opportunities that they want to.
We didn't see Mickey out here this week. What's his status?
Yeah, he's touch and go at the moment. He's had a bit of a hamstring irritation, so we'll sort of see how he came through the individual stuff today and see where that leaves him.
So what are his chances for tomorrow?
I would say 50-50. I think when we get back in and we have a conversation about how he responded to his work, then we'll know. We'll see.
What did Victor show you in the friendly? If he's the one that's held on?
He's obviously had quite a particular set of circumstances up until this point that sort of prevented him from being active enough to play games. So I think he's still a while away from being completely match sharp, but he's obviously physically he's a real presence, and he can handle the ball well, and he's very aggressive, and he's really coachable, and he's someone that I'm sure will fit into the group eventually really well. So when that moment comes, then I'll have full faith in him.
Were you able to work with everybody you wanted to work with, like you said, with the other international players gone?
Yeah, it was nice. We had a group early on in the week of about 14, 15, and obviously that's a very different dynamic. You're not necessarily prepping for a game, so the sessions can look slightly different. They can perhaps look a bit more general as opposed to being all geared toward the opposition and the specifics of the game plan. So that was nice. It was really good to get that group together, and we've had Morris Duggan as an example with us over a couple of days. It's been nice to see him up close. So there's always silver linings to these situations where you lose players to international breaks.
Any roster considerations, considering that the twos are playing in the Open Cup midweek next week? Does that affect your decision making for the game day?
No, it doesn't affect the decision making for that particular game. We'll deal with that game as it comes, and then we'll deal with the second team game after we find out who comes through well on Saturday. Obviously, we've also got to contend with the rules around who can play, and the average number of minutes that have been played in the MLS so far is obviously constraining in that sense. So I think once we get our game out of the way, we'll have a good look at where the group is and who can play on Tuesday, because we want to use that game well, because number one, big for the club, but number two, it's a good opportunity for players to play minutes and find their sharpness.
What's the status for Kervin and Zarek?
Yeah, neither of them have been active on the grass this week. So Zarek obviously trained earlier on in the week and then had to pull himself out, so he's a while away. Kervin's probably a little bit closer, so neither of them are particularly serious injuries. So I think we're talking more a matter of weeks as opposed to months for both of them.
Okay. Are you familiar with Jim Curtin's fashion style? You're both a fan of the selvage denim, and do you plan to compete with him on the sideline in that regard?
No, I'm not, but I'm looking forward to the surprise now. I hadn't heard anything about Jim Curtin's fashion style, so I look forward to seeing what he wears.